place before I came here. That, you know, then a lot of these drivers, when they go to another.
And welcome back to Hawkeye Downs. Rob Brooks along with Jim Amstutz. And on the track, we see the Barron Motorsports Super Stocks getting set for 35 laps of the midseason championship. And Jim would take a look at row one right here. Greg Hendrich out of Hiawatha and Jason Scott up front.
As I catch my breath from coming up the stairs, Corey Hodek in 19, Eric Becker in 87.
Son of Arlo Becker and Chad Seams and Paul Walder out of Cedar Rapids in row three.
Row four, Scott Grady in 17, and double duty driver. You'll see him in Sportsman on another show, Bob Aronson.
In row five, Sonny Parker and Arnie Reef.
Jim Hansen, the point leader, and Roland Bonesack in 44. One lap and we'll go.
In row seven, one of the lady drivers in this class, Wendy Carnahan out of Cedar Rapids and Kurt Bonesack out of Iowa City.
David McCullough, who's won quite a few races out here, and Don Johnson.
Brenda Thompson and Kevin Franks in row nine.
Row 10, Paul Nagel, only 14 years old, rookie driver, and Jeff Franks, who's won a bunch out here too.
That'll be fun to watch. And rounding out the field, Randy Filling.
Good shot of him on the little track. You don't see that on TV. In fact, I think this is the broadcast premiere of the Barron Motor Supply Super Stocks.
And we are racing, and this is a class, Jim, that we've talked about before that really wanted to be on TV, so this should be a good show. It's always one of the more competitive classes that we have out here.
Yeah, and I hope people watch it and say, boy, they always are, because a lot of times people don't get too excited about the quarter mile out here, but for what they lack in that high speed, look at that competition, 3 wide there. You won't see that much on the half mile.
And it's a big field.
Yes, it is. Usually the most cars out there because these are the most affordable cars we have here.
And Jason Scott in the number 9 car is currently in the lead.
Great race back there for second. Greg Hendrick, number 35, second-year driver in the division. And Chad Seams, 76. He has a couple of wins this year. Side by side for second. Look how they run in that pack. These cars don't have the racing slicks that the half-mile cars. They have a treaded dirt track tire, and they like them to be worn out. So a lot of these guys get their tires for nothing from their buddies on the dirt tracks. They don't have to pay the $5 to have them disposed of. They stick them on the race car.
I know these guys have a lot of fun out here, and keep it affordable racing, the deep field, and that's what really culminates to very competitive racing, and it's been that way all season long.
As we say that, Jason Scott's really checked out, but that's a rarity here, and if there were to be a caution, look out. We inverted them by their point standing, and the point leader Drew, and Jim Hansen pulled the highest number possible at 12. So that put the real hot dogs on back in the center of the field, and they're having trouble getting through traffic. But Jason Scott, who's had an up and down year, he has one win, but he's had some bad nights, so he's well down to the points. They got her hooked up tonight. He's checking out.
And Chad Seams out of Mount Auburn, Iowa in second place. And there's a little smoke coming from the back end of his car.
Well, that's too bad if that's, yeah, you can see it again.
It looks slowing down.
That looks almost like it's overheating. Too bad, because he actually races out here some nights in 2 divisions. He races that as an IMCA dirt stock car, too. And you know what? That was sportsmanship, getting off the track onto the grass between the big track and the little track. And that saved the yellow flag and kept the show going. That's very sportsmanlike.
Well, coming out of turn 4, he noticed the smoke out of the back end, and by the time he got around almost to turn 2, you're right, Jim, casually pulled off to the side and got out of the way for the faster cars to come through. 25 laps to go, and still Jason Scott continues to hold the lead, and he's going through some lap traffic now.
And that purple car that was just in the picture a moment ago, Jim Hansen, he's the point leader. He hasn't won this year. We talked about that on the Open, but he's been able to move through the pack. There you just saw him go. He's up to, looks like about 4th or 5th place, so he's doing pretty good. Kurt Bonesack's moving up. He started way back in the pack. He was not in the top 12.
There was the 6X car of Bob Aronson in the middle of the pack, and we will be back with more of the Barron Motor Supply Super Stock Midseason Championship after this. Good crowd on hand. Lap 19 of 35, Jim. Jason Scott continues to lead. Scott Grady in second, followed by Hansen, Walder, and Kurt Bonsack now into the 5th position.
And you know what's interesting, like you said, 14 laps to go. A lot of people that haven't been coming out here the last couple of years have this idea that the quarter mile cars are crash and bang. We haven't had a yellow yet now.
No.
There's been nights these guys have run their normal 30-lap distance in 8 minutes. It's over. So they really put on a good show, and we're proud to have them on TV. There's the car on your screen there. Well, actually, there's your leader, Jason Scott. And look at that. Scott Grady is right behind him. The guy off the backstretch is Randy Filling. And he slid off the track and kept going. He's back on the racetrack, probably a lap or two down.
On the outside.
I think he's a lap or two down. Too bad. Randy won one of our Saturday night quarter mile races here just up a few weeks ago. I'll tell you, we've got a race going. You got Jason Scott in the lead, number 9, and he had that big lead when we went to break. And here comes Scott Grady in number 17, and car number 1, Paul Walder. Now, Grady has never won a feature race here, believe it or not. He's been out here for several years. In fact, his wife, Kathy Hart, sings our national anthem. He's in the sign business. A lot of those signs you see in the background, Scott does, but he's never won a feature. And there he is. He could make it on TV right now.
Got a shot. What's funny, too, Jimmy, we talked about it in the Open, the super stock class, the top 3 leaders in the points have not won a feature all season.
Yeah, and the top 3 in points now. Sonny Parker dropped out of the race during the commercial break. He's 3rd. And Arnie Reif, who's in 2nd, Jim Hansen, who's the leader. They're not in this battle for the lead.
And Scott Grady is 5th in points. He's right up there. 6th is Paul Walder. So those two still are in contention here as you look at Scott continuing to lead.
An interesting shot to show you how this track blends. It's very rare that they put a small track inside a big track that has a nice bank like that. It makes kind of a hump on the front stretch for the half-mile cars, but this little quarter mile is a really nice racetrack. And if this was a standalone facility, just the quarter mile, and we ran late models and everything on it, I think people would rave about some of the best racing. But that's, you know, a lot of people like that half mile. 5 laps to go for Jason Scott this time by.
Well, people like a lot of speed.
Oh, they do.
Just good, solid racing. Don't have the speed of the late model cars, but when you get on this quarter mile, it is really competitive.
Yeah, it is. And somebody lost some piece of their car. Let's see if that forces a yellow flag with only 5. I think the scoreboard line up. It's 4 laps to go. Oh, Paul Walder's got trouble. 3rd place, Paul Walder got sideways, and look at that.
And the debris is still on the track around turn 2.
Oh, look out on the backstretch. We've got it on the camera. Paul Walder in 1 and Jim Hansen, the point leader in 88, got together. They continue. Hansen, young guy, a little reckless now and then. Sometimes you have to talk to him, but he's a heck of a driver and a real likable guy. But I just caught the end of that. I was looking at the track instead of the monitor. I missed the action.
One thing about the younger drivers, they're always aggressive, wanting to show that they can run with the more veteran drivers.
Oh, trouble in turn 3. Trouble in turn 3. Eric Becker and the 05 car of 14-year-old Paul Nagel. Oh, they almost hit my four-wheeler in the infield in victory lane. Yeah, boy, this is going to make a race now. It brings out the yellow flag with 2 laps to go.
So Don Johnson in the 51 car spins off into the infield. You see him, and then the 05 Paul Nagel gets back on the track.
Well, that'll be for the highlight film for next year's TV commercials. I'll tell you that that was exciting. Oh, we got
and
big fire on Greg Hendricks, number 35. He's hurrying up. Actually, he's running away, driving away from the fire crew. Normally, the fire crew sits up there, but tonight we've got them in the infield, and this is a bad situation. I think Greg knew his car was on fire and instinctively drove to where he thought the fire crew was going to be, but we moved him to the infield because we thought it'd be safer, so you never know. But
they're on the scene as
yes.
the fire crew. The main flame was in the front left of the car.
Well, that's a shame because he's a real low-budget guy. He doesn't have a lot of money to spend, and
look at the bellowing smoke coming up the car of Greg Hendrick out of Hiawatha.
Well, I'll tell you, he was excited tonight when I talked to him about that we were on TV, and he said if I'd known I was going to be on TV, I'd have shaved. But he got on TV all right, not the way he wanted to. Too bad.
Well, the flames came out around turn 4 and immediately got onto the half-mile portion of the track, and there's
Greg, beard and all.
So he's in good shape, got out of the car.
like I said, Rob, this accident that started it, and this was just a secondary thing, is going to be in the highlight, is going to be on next year's commercial.
Well, here's a look at it.
Eric Becker in 87 and young Paul Nagel in 05 got together right in front of the leaders. Look at that. As there's number 9, Jason Scott, the leader, going through back lap traffic. And then after this was over, this happened. Greg Hendrick headed back to the pits because he blew in an engine, and well, that oil got on the exhaust headers, and boom,
Yep.
look at there.
Big flames there on the left side front of the car. So we are under caution here.
Just 2 laps to go, and I'll tell you what, this is going to put Scott Grady right behind Jason Scott. He was close anyway, but it also moves up the guys who are on back. And the guy to keep an eye on is car number 4, Kurt Bonesack. He started way in the back, and he's up to 3rd. And when we reline the cars here at Hawkeye Downs on the quarter mile, we align them side by side behind the leaders, so that'll be good.
That'll be a good 2 laps to the finish.
Well, the green flag's out. We're racing.
And as we mentioned, Jim, the cars right up front.
Ooh, we got to spin over.
Grady in second, Scott still in first place. But as you mentioned, Bonesack in the 4 car on the outside. He's right on the outside.
Ooh, look out. We got to spin, and I hope they saw it. Oh,
Yellow was out. Stalled over there is the 87 car of Eric Becker.
Yeah, still 2 laps to go. Eric Becker spun around, so we missed half a lap there, but we didn't miss anything because that won't count. The rules here say that you have to run the last 2 laps under the green flag. And even if they'd have come across to count that lap, it's still 2 laps to go. So you've got basically that accident just meant that that little half lap didn't count, except the guys in the accident have to go to the rear.
That will still stay in that same order. It'll be a 2 lap dash to the finish when we go green.
Keep an eye on Kurt Bonesack, number 4. Kurt started behind the 12 car invert. I think he started about 13th, 14th place. I can tell you if I look at the point standings here. Oh, you got the lineup. Kurt started, he started way back there, and there's 11 to 13th place, lucky 13. So he's worked from 13th to the number 3 position, and he's on the outside. And don't be surprised if he makes a run on the leader.
Yeah, because he really was quick early, because at the lap 19 point, he was already into the 5th position.
Well, Eric Becker heads back to the pits. He was involved in that accident. He's trying to find his way off the track. The fire crew still up there cleaning things up from that fire. Greg Hendrick, we're ready for the restart, and we've got a half mile to go. 2 circuits around the quarter mile, and it's over. And what I say, there comes Kurt Bonesack on the outside.
On the outside of, now in 2nd place, so he is going to challenge Jason Scott in the number 9 car.
Bob Aronson, his teammate, Bonesack's teammate, number 6X, is coming up on the inside. Look at that, 3 wide. 1 lap to go. Ooh, this is going to be exciting.
Moving up as well. I won't have a chance, but David McKella in the Jägermeister-sponsored car is running a nice race and into the top 8.
Well, the same guy led the whole way, but it was a heck of a race. I'm going to go down and talk to the winner, Jason Scott.
That sounds good, Jim. Very competitive race. A couple of yellows. Here is the final lap of the Barron Motor Supply Super Stocks Mid-Season Championship. It was another wire-to-wire victory for the number 9 car of Jason Scott of Cedar Rapids. He had to hold off the number 4 car, Kurt Bonesack of Iowa City, who came on strong. And in his post-race interview, Jason talked about holding off some of the class's best drivers to win the mid-season championship super stock race. Also, Bob Aronson ran very strong. But the 9 car is your winner, Jason Scott, followed by Scott Grady, who was on Scott's tail the entire time. Kurt Bonesack, Bob Aronson ended up finishing 4th. Paul Walder in 5th, followed by Jim Hansen, Arnie Reef, Don Johnson, David McCalla in the 9th spot, and the 29 car of Kevin Franks rounds out the top 10 in the midseason championship Super Stock division. Hope you enjoyed a great night of racing for